Hey everyone, welcome into the Fan Zone here at Vegas Nation. I'm Ed Graney, sports columnist, the Review Journal. Hope your day is doing well. Here's been a few minutes, maybe ask some questions if you have them. Go ahead and send them in. Definitely a huge game last night to talk about. Raiders go 2-0 on the season. Beat the Saints 34-24. First game at Allegiant Stadium is a pretty impressive night last night, obviously, for Las Vegas and welcoming Allegiant Stadium. And it was a huge win for the Raiders. You know, last week we talked about it being kind of a must-win to go to Carolina and beat a team they should. Last night was even better. They were dogs of the books, the Raiders. I don't know how many people really expected a win, but they got it, and impressive fashion as well, coming back from a 10-0 deficit to win 34-24. A lot of things stood out to me and probably to you about the game last night. And let's start with the offense. Before the season, everyone said, how would Derek Carr respond in year 3 under John Gruden? And that would be a big reason of to why they would succeed or not. What would Carr's future be? Well, the guy's been terrific for 2 games. Last night, 28 of 38 for 282, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. More importantly, I think if you've watched Derek Carr over the first 2 games, he has complete control of this offense. Knows what Gruden wants, knows when to check out of things, knows when to audible, knows where people are going to be. And he's been as good as any quarterback these first 2 weeks, maybe not named Russell Wilson, in terms of leading his team down the field. More importantly, and I'm sure you guys remember this from the offseason, the big thing was, could the Raiders in the red zone finish with touchdowns? Far too many field goals and missed opportunities last year. Well, what have they done? 3 times in the red zone in Carolina, they got touchdowns. 3 times last night, they got touchdowns. That is a huge percentage through 2 games. You've got to finish in this league in the red zone with touchdowns, not as many field goals. So they've done a terrific job with that. Carr is in complete control. And I don't want to, I'm saying right now, I know there's Travis Kelce. I know there's other tight ends around the league that are, thought of as the best for good reason. But I'm going to put Darren Waller in that conversation right now. He is absolutely terrific at this point, and he's showing why the Raiders had trust in him, giving him that extension in the offseason. Last night, 12 catches. I think he was targeted 16 times, 103 yards, average 8.6 a catch, and 1 touchdown. Darren Waller is so big to this offense and such a combination now with Carr. Carr trusts him so much that as you go through the progression, if he's not number 1, he's going to come up pretty quick as 2 or 3, and especially on 3rd down. It's another thing I didn't mention about Carr last night. He was great on 3rd down. I mean, they converted so many 3rd downs through the air. It was always going to be hard for Josh Jacobs to get a ton of yards last night. The Saints now are, I think, 44, 45-plus games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. But Josh Jacobs was in the 86 range last night. They were really hard 86 to get, almost 30 carries. But Carr was so good finding receivers. Derek Carr threw completions to 11 different people last night. Now, if you can do that on a weekly basis, then you're going to win a lot of football games to spread it around like he did last night. So offensively, given the injuries they've had up front, Trent Brown didn't start, obviously, again, didn't play again. Richie Incognito goes out midway through the game. He's out with an injury. He's on street clothes on the sidelines when it's over. You have young players coming into this offensive line. And I'll tell you what, after the first quarter, when Derek Carr was actually sacked 3 times in the first quarter for the first time in his career, they kept him clean. And as we've seen for 2 weeks now, a clean Derek Carr is going to move the ball and score a lot of points. So I don't know what they're going to do this week with the offensive line. They're going to have to look at it. They're going to have to see who's healthy. They really, really need Trent Brown to get back in this lineup. They keep saying a foot. Not really sure how serious the foot is, but it must be pretty serious if he continues to be out. But guys are filling in. Denzel Good, Parker. I mean, these guys are coming in and probably playing spots that they didn't think they'd play or how much they play, and they're actually coming through really, really well. Now, if we switch to the other side, obviously at Carolina, there was a lot of concern. They gave up 30 points to, let's be honest, a really bad offensive team other than Christian McCaffrey, and they couldn't get to Teddy Bridgewater. It was a sack, half each sack for Hurston and Nassib. They never really hit Teddy Bridgewater, so the fear was last night, if you couldn't get to Teddy Bridgewater, how are you going to get to Drew Brees? And if you don't get to Drew Brees, you're in major trouble. Well, a couple things worked out. They didn't sack Drew Brees, but they had 3 or 4 quarterback hurries. And I think they bothered him in spots, not a lot, because he still threw for over 300. The Saints gained over 400 yards. So they didn't bother him a ton. but I thought they were better defensively for sure in the second half. When the Raiders fumbled on the Jalen Richard fumble, that gave Brees the ball back, in the 30-40 range of his own end, and he could have gone down the field and scored and tied it. The Raiders were only up 7. The defense came through with a huge stop at that point. If Brees goes and scores and ties the game, I don't know what happens, because at that point, if you're the Raiders, you're thinking, look, we've completely outplayed these guys, and now they're tied. It gets in your head a little, but they didn't. The defense forced the punt. Now, that was also Sean Payton not going for it inside the Raiders' 50-yard line. Good news for the Raiders. Sean Payton agreed to punt on 4th and 7, so you never really had to have that play. You never had to go against 4th and 7. But again, it's a good stop for the Raiders, and I think defensively, they're just going to have to take these kind of stops and build on it. They still need to get the pass rush going. I thought the linebackers, Nick Kwiatkowski was out, but then you look at a guy like Nicholas Morrow, 7 tackles. He and Damon Arnett both had 7 tackles, and he gets the pick. The funny thing about the pick was, this is late in the first half when the Raiders actually cashed in with a field goal. The funny thing on the pick was, if you watch the game, Raiders are in black jerseys. If you see the Raider logo at the middle of the field, it's also black. It's almost like Nicholas Morrow hid in the center of the field with his black jersey and the black logo, because if you see Brees throw, he never saw Nicholas Morrow. I mean, one, Drew Brees doesn't make a lot of those kind of throws, but good for the Raiders and good for Nicholas Morrow that he did. Comes back, hits the field goal at the halftime, which I thought was huge, because then you go 17-17, you're receiving the second half kickoff, you go score, it's 24-17. Now you've kind of grabbed all the momentum. Momentum is not something I completely believe in, but to take the lead in a game like that to open the second half was really big. So Nicholas Morrow, I thought, was huge as well. Also, again, they've got, Max Crosby's name was heard last night a lot more than it was on the first week. They've got to get the pass rush going. No question, New Orleans penalties hurt New Orleans and helped the Raiders. There was one drive, it might have been the first drive, the second half, where they forced a punt. The Saints traveled 60-something yards and only gained 32 because of penalties. That's a lot of penalties. But on the flip side of that, I thought the Raiders did a really good job in the third quarter keeping Drew Brees off the field. Think about this. The Saints had 6 plays in the third quarter. Now, when is the last time, one of the best tempo and explosive offenses in the entire NFL can say that an entire quarter passed and they only had 6 snaps, 6 plays? That's an amazing stat, and it allowed the Raiders to, again, get that lead, keep it, and then get to the fourth quarter and kind of close it out. A lot that's missed sometimes in a big game like this is special teams. For 2 weeks now, Daniel Carlson has been terrific. Daniel Carlson was a guy who didn't have to really win his job. He was going to be the guy all along. And in kickers, sometimes that can hurt a little guy if there's a lot of comfort. But look at him, 2 for 2 last night. He gets the one, I think it was 28 to, right before the end of the first half, to go up 17-17 to catch lead. But last night, and this is a gutsy call by John Gruden as well. You're near, you're in the Saints territory, just past midfield, and it's a 4th down, and you can either punt it and make Brees drive 80, 90 yards in a minute and change, and it's Brees, so even though he didn't play well last night, you never know. Or you can kick it. And John Gruden saw what the Chiefs did over the weekend, and they're kicking up 4th down, and they're trusting their kicker, and he trusted Daniel Carlson to hit from 54. Obviously, once he did that, the game was over. It's a 10-point spread. But I think Daniel Carlson set up for a big year. He has not missed yet. I think Hunter Renfrow is very good on punt returns. I don't know if he's going to break a lot, but possession-wise, he's not going to turn the ball over. That's the key in any kind of return game. Just don't turn the ball over. If you can't bring it out on kicks, don't bring it out. Get it on the 25. Punts, just possess the ball. If you can get positive yardage out of it, good. But you don't want to turn it over or do something like that. That could be game killers. Not good for them. So overall, even though the Saints moved the ball and compiled yards, I thought it was a terrific win by the Raiders. They kept Brees off the field for a lot of the time. And again, going back to Derek Carr, 2 weeks in, if he has this command of this offense this way, I think they're going to score points on anyone who they play. The issue is going to be, can they hold teams, I'll say the 25 to 30 range in points? Because I think the offense is good enough to where if you say, okay, the Raiders are going to give up an average of 26 or 27 this year, and that would be a big improvement from recent years, the offense is good enough to outscore that number. There'll be weeks maybe where they'll give up 35, and there's going to be a pressure on Derek Carr to really produce points. But if they can get in the mode of like last night, 24, that is a very manageable number for the Raiders in terms of outscoring that number and winning. So there you go again, 34-24. The win goes to the Raiders. And now, what do you do now? Well, on to New England, going back east again. We saw what they did last week, going back east now, much different opponent. Obviously, the Patriots are to the Panthers, but they haven't played well going east in a long time. And last 2 weeks ago, they got the win back east, so maybe that gives them some confidence. They should go into Foxborough very confident that when the fourth quarter rolls around, they will absolutely be in this game with a chance to win it. It is Bill Belichick, I get that, and the whole cliche, but he has an extra day to prepare. I think nowadays you have advanced scouting anyway, so they've seen the film on the Patriots. I don't know if 12 hours makes that much of a difference because they watch so much film. They've got their advanced scouting and their coaches watching film early. But this is a game they can go in and win. I liked what the Patriots did a lot against Seattle. Cam Newton threw the ball as well as I've seen Cam Newton throw the ball in years. He looks healthy. It's a Belichick defense. Now, Russell Wilson kind of tore them up, so I'm sure there's a lot of stuff John Gruden and Derek Carr will see on film that they think they can also exploit offensively. I would imagine Josh Jacobs is back near that 100-yard mark, but they're going to have to figure out a way. We're beating a dead horse here, but now you have Cam. The first week you had Teddy Bridgewater, who could do things with his feet. Drew Brees, like we said last night, looked his age at 41. He's never had the strongest arm. It's really weak now. He doesn't make plays with his feet. Now you have Cam Newton. Obviously, we know throughout his career he can make a lot of plays with his feet. So whether you spy him with a linebacker or you just do a better job rushing on the edge and on the end to make him stay in the pocket, the Raiders are going to have to do that, again, to have a chance to win. It's not going to change the narrative, no matter who they play, until the Raiders find some kind of consistent pass rush or a way to get to these quarterbacks and at least disrupt their flow and their tempo. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. Again, they're at New England. A line around town is 6.5 right now. We saw the pros last night actually bring the line down. You had 3 and 3.5s around town last night for the Saints game. So a lot of money to the Raiders. We'll see if that happens this week. It's different. It's different, really, to throw a lot of money at a team going back east, that far back east. But you never know. There'll be people who take a chance on it. But I imagine 6.5's not only a fair line, given it's back there, but probably where the number will stick. I'll be surprised if it moves either way too much, given how the Patriots have played. They've looked good. Cam's looked good. And again, it's the Raiders traveling. So if we have any questions, let me know. If not, I hope this was a good preview for last game and a look ahead. They're 2-0. You got to remember there's an extra wild card this year. So what they've done now, meaning the Raiders, is they've beaten a team they were supposed to beat. And let's be honest, they beat a team they weren't supposed to beat. So in that line of thinking, they're +1. And we said before the season, you have to beat the people you're supposed to. And for the Raiders this year, at least by odds, there weren't going to be a lot of those in the schedule. Then you're going to have to beat teams that you're not supposed to, 1 or 2. Well, they've already done that. They beat the Saints. So 2-0 in a year where there's an extra playoff bid, it gives you hope and more of a sure conviction that come the end of the year they will be there, at least in position to battle for a playoff spot. Follow all of our coverage at Vegas Nation, vegasnation.com. Get the app Vegas Nation, all of our podcasts. Pre and post, we've got the television on Cox now, pre-game show. Hope you enjoyed that this week. Have a great week. We'll be with you all week talking about the Patriots. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.
With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today.